Gaeilge Weekly is brought to you by Learn Irish Online. For way more shows, videos, podcasts, and courses for learning the language, head to learnirishonline.com or patreon.com/learnirishonline.
You've been the best of times, you walk me through my darkest days. Why must I turn around? I ask myself. This just ain't fair, so hard to bear. I'm not really sure these days. You walk away, you don't away.
Hello, Mads and Wat, Strononama, Falsha, Arash, Quig, Gaeilge Weekly, Tatu and Nish, éisteacht le Hagran Ever, Céad is a Cuig, episode number 105, Conas Talmuds on Tachtan Sho. Doesn't happen too often, ni Harleen say Rovinnick, Gamin me ag tafadu recording air on Ina. As you know, Mar Soljiv Mas Rode Gamin Shiv ag éisteacht gach seachtain le Gaeilge Weekly Jeganá bí ag tafadu I record an Céadaoin sin fud Creile air on Luan Jeganá, so sin an Gnáthleagan, the normal or full version on Leagan Umlan, agus on Leagan Sho, and this version on Leagan Níos Simplí, agus an sin on Leagan Uwad Níos Simplí air on Mort. Ach, Déilún sa hugan de Morts agus de Chéadaoin by me leighton the Sierra. So mini leighton the Sierra, mini holidays next Monday to Wednesday ní bhaiminn seo in Ifig LIO. Don't ask where I'm going, ná chur heistarm cin áte bhfuil me ag dul, because tá me ag dul go bhfuilbhe agus Cadiz na hásanna ará me ag labhart faoi or fuhu on podcast fod the places I was speaking about for the full podcast on Tachtan Shikacha. So I don't want to go over the same topic again and bore you guys. Ní mé géirí ladrán a chur of agus lawarts when topic céna Arish ach ag tnú go mór le sin a bit of a last minute thing, only booked in the last few days with a friend. So I rud ag an nóméid dearnach a churmuds in Orithe that we booked le cúpla lá anús ach ag tnú go mór leis really looking forward to it. As I mentioned last week on the podcast, really love those places on the coast. Just even them na háitina sin air an Ghosta, and especially during the summer go háirithe I rit an tairí nar bhínte anante an seo is Seville when it's very, very hot here in Seville. Nice for it to be a few degrees cooler, and obviously you have the water to get into as well. Hon an tiisce a bheith agat freisin hall an sin. So, thank you very much for tuning in. Gur míle maith give mar is gnách as túnál is seach. This week on Tachtan Sho, tá mé géirí labhart faoi rud éigean ará mé ag labhart faoi go minic air on Bud Creile River Show, something I've been speaking about often on the podcast before now, but normally just a few references here and there. Cúpla tagart an seo is an siúd. I mean, I used to have a joke, bhí joke agam ar an Bud Creile gach seachtain is cuma céin sais rud o bhfuil mé ag labhart faoi. Doesn't matter what I'm speaking about or what type of thing I'm speaking about. Tágann sé rasfuig Formula 1 no Oasis ag pointse éigean mar tá mé gafa le Formula 1 no Formula 1 hon an tastraán ofigiúil, the official translation úsáids, agus Oasis comma. So, you know, bhíneart agur an river seo beidir gur mé ag labhart faoi nílas agam leighton the Sierra, no beidir gur mé ag labhart faoi Gailge, no beidir gur mé ag labhart faoin políocht na rud éigean mar sin, nó faoin Gaeilge, nó faoi seachtain na Gaeilge, no whatever, peirad. Agus an sin tar éis cúig nóméid bhí mé arás ag labhart faoi F1 nó Oasis ar feadh cúpla nóméid. You know, agus is stocha is rud nádartha é sin. That's a natural thing. Nor dá tú ag déanú solo Pud Creile agus Pud Creile gan mór an struchtúr nó gan mór an agenda. Ní mé géirí go bhfuil a numbercha struchtúr agin riomh ar an Bud Creile tá mé géirí go bhfuil mé in an just labhart faoi aon rud ar aon seachtain. Nuair thuaisí mé inniu ar Madsen when I woke up this morning, ní rá é sagam céin sais topic ará mé chun labhart faoi. Agus an sin thug mé faoi deara go ráir an Bud Creile a dhéanamh inniu. I realised I'd have to do the Bud Creile the podcast today because I'm away next week. Then I thought, better get back together and think of something here. Caithimé, you know, to get into the zone is though follows Jack's zone sin agus sweeney. Okay. Push my hat on, my GW hat on, and hat a Gaeilge Weekly agus my thinking cap agus a bheith swing of okay, cod on me igor labhart faoi an Tachtan Sho. Agus ar nó aon duine a bhíon ag leanúint well ní chaid tú a bheith ag leanúint Oasis ri ceapan beanna gach duine ag éisteacht le seo ag an am a hagann sé amach at the time it comes out by is agah gohfuil an reunion an chumhpháirt reunion the reunion toward díreacht tar éis tosú so tá mis ag taftú ar an Tainú lád ag the 11th de bhí úl gáhfuil fé cuaig so thosaí siad an lá seo 7 ó hin this day 1 week ago I Cardiff rinne siad gig I Cardiff an sin nó I Cardiff stóchas Gaeilge ar an ine agus chomhpháirtíocht sin ar an sathern agus ceapam an nocht tá an chéad gig acúb I Monchan in Manchester agus tá siad an trín ó ceithre ihe as a chéile a dhéanamh sin in Monchan so níl ticéidí agam má tá ticéidí ag aon duine agus tá siad géirí ticéidí ó thuirtstom nó a dúla chuigam ní cai sibh iad ó thuirtstom tá mé sásta chun íoch asú am happy to pay for the monster nash insane prices ach ceapam gach duine ó bhfuil ticéidí agah tá sibh chun na ticéidí sin a chuneal mar níl sibh réile I géirí chailú amach réile ar cheolcurm chomhpháirtíocht such a historical concert such a historical tour their first tour an chéad chumhpháirt atá Déanta acu le 6 bliana deaganús ceapam 16 years now the first one they've done mar bhris siad sús mí lúnas a 2000 is an ní agus ní raibh mé géirí labhairt san umarcha faoi rih an chumhpháirt agus rih an chéad cheolcurm an teachtain sa caite I Cardiff níos móna in rud eile more than anything else because you know le Oasis ní bhíon is agad riomh cad atá siad an déanú what are they going to do because ar nó bhí an méid sin trids idir an bhirtstra thorca I mean tá siad díreacht tar éis chríoch a chur le 6 bliana deag nó 2 bliana deag gan a bheith ag labhairt le chéile they're only just after putting an end to 16 or 15 years I guess because they announced it last year dógur siad é seo blian ó hin an uirí that they 15 years without speaking so you never know well are they going to be able to do a tour together gan is toch tits mass a chéile without kind of falling all over the place or falling out with each other gan argon see a bheith acu gan trade without arguing with each other without fighting so I didn't want to speak about until the first night was and also I think some people were worried they weren't going to be that good fi landíní buganí bortha nach méach siad roa and then straight away the night of the first concert díreacht chun sin an ihe den chéad ceolcurm tháinig an méid sin daoine amach irisóirí agus just fans you know an lucht leanúna a bhí an sin tháinig siad amach ag rá go raibh sé an bhá ar fad agus níos fearr ná mar bhí daoine ag súil leis it was even better than people expected Liam's voice probably as good as it's been in 25-30 years go Liam chomh anis le mar bhí sé 2 bliana is fiche ó hin beidir tro blian ó hin you know nar bhí Oasis ag an peak ní sé nó go chathair ní sé nó go 2 agus ní sé nó go 6 nar chur siad amach na album sin definitely maybe agus What's the Story Morning Glory beanna gach sais ar an chaúil agus ar an mainstream atá Oasis tháinig siad amach ar an dá album sin Champagne Supernova Don't Look Back in Anger Wonderwall Slide Away Columbia Live Forever Supersonic agus mar sinja and so on and then of course a load of other not so big songs that came out later in terms of not big mainstream but for me just as good songs are on cosúil like Gas Panic Effin' in the Bushes are on cosúil Listen Up, fresh in the Boneheads Bank Holiday. It's even the fresh in Shaker Maker, Londini had Neon Shaker Maker, Low Cigarettes and Alcohol, Talan, Keen An Anawa, or fad a lot of really, really good ones out there as well. Go Let It Out, Shin Kyan, Oil Make éisteacht leis gomininic le Janie, one I've been listening to often recently. Go Let It Out on album Standing on the Shoulders of Giants, Captain Honig Shin Amach, Ní Jeg No Ganí, or Heart Eranam Shin. So idir níos nó go chathair gohfuil san ní chuir siad amach a lán nó chuir siad a lán ar an slán cheol iontach amach dar lumsa in my opinion ach an chuid is mód sin na cín is mainstream agus na cín a bhaid arolalas ag beanna gach duine nó landíine ag éisteacht leis an bud créile seo bhí siad san ag teacht amach I níta nó chathair níta nó chuig sa chéad gá album agus prolific isn't even the word, isn't even a strong enough word. Níl prolific mar ocail is dócha sách cuachtach chun chuirsís a dhéanú céadh prolific agus a bhí siad agus céadh prolific agus a bhí nóil mar scríbhneoir ag an am sin. So tá mé cósáasta gro gach duine a bhí ag na gigs i Cardiff an Sactan Scotch agus Cínte nuair tá sibhse ag éisteacht seo gach duine a thuaí go na gigs i Manchán atá tíre chun tosú that are just about to start ba siad sanna grá ó grá sé ionach freisin agus gar go Liam agus an show generalta híntaach tuis go má gohfuil níl sé just nó agus Liam agus sin cúpla randomers ar an stáitse tá Bonehead cean sin na founding members an sin cin tanamatá ar an lad bhí sé mar chuid de Ride who is part of that band Ride Gem Archer tá sesin freisin mar chuid sin grúp anis mar bhí sé mar chuid sin group ar fad Gem Lína, he's part of the group, not founding member, but there for about 10 years, I think 99 to 09. Need to know chní, cos í Gaeilge sanní, hartar an am sin, agus cúpla den eile a bhí pórtach sa bhanna ceol rubha seo, or rubha sin. A few people who are kind of part of the group before now, or before then, I suppose, before when they split up in 09, it Gaeilge is aní. So I'm really happy it's actually going well so far. Again, who knows, might all fall apart tonight. Chance go dití sé go léir amach an nocht ach fan go bheith muid ceapam go maiid sé ceart go leir. I think it'll be okay. And just cool that they sounding good. The people are having good experience at the concerts. Gohfuil taithí maith ag daoine ag na ceol chormacha anis. And yeah, I'm really happy. I didn't want to speak about too much or do a podcast on it before that. Ní make it really large sweet. No podcastly, you know, at River Shane actually tá video or YouTube tá fishon YouTube anish Oasis Cardiff live 25 first night full show multicam agus tá an show omlan now níl sé cos le professionally films tafada go profisiúnta nóinrad mar sin ach for den aigen an audio beidir bootleg ón audio agus tá sé susar YouTube agus an sin camera fose jo lán daoine de friúla a bhí ag na gigs agus tá sé anha ag channel nó chláil dar bhannam alternative guitars níl sagam an mai sé fós an sin le fáil ar YouTube nó an mai sé tócha síos will be taken down marall ar an gcomhpháirtíocht because of the copyright nuair tá sibh sé géiste seo ach má tá chance go tá show omlan an sin ón géad ihe i Cardiff from the first night in Cardiff agus tá sé anha gacrad an guitar an audio go Liam go Noel mar bín Noel ag canú bíonna gach ar an bín sé canú písa ach an sin in session don't look back in anger session in éonar ní bhín Liam ar an stáitse Liam is on stage when they do don't look back in anger gin session don't look back in anger the master plan tá cúpla ceann eile níl saman an setlist agam an seo tá sé cin eile a bhín nóil ag déanú. Beidir just an dá cheann sin Half the World's Away freisin ní cheapan agus talk tonight. Yeah, so tá cúpla ceann difriúil a dhéanana nóil ina éonar agus just níl go Liam an a dhéanú beidir go sé beagnaí roiir agus nó just i gcónaí bhí sé déanta aige mar sin or bhí sé déanta acu mar sin they just always did it like that even on the album Noel sings John back and Liam isn't even on Liam an gceann sin ar churbe. So ansásta gohfuil siad rash I written blianta during the years I gcónaí chur sé isteachar it really annoyed me like I know bhí mis sé gcónaí ag leanúint cad a bhí ar siúil ag na deirtheoracha na solo careers a bhí ag an mertseachú a cummála sin an chuteach Oasis reunion agus an sin Google News bíon le gach seachtain gach mí le 10 mbliana anús mar tá sé rilí gafa le ní bháin an cheol ach na scéalta tíobh hir den cheol na scéalta tíobh hir den persantochtaí this kind of story behind the personalities agus mar sin ach le 10 mbliana anús bhí mé gáin ag leir an bhfuil ein chorathe any sign an bhfuil éon fianaise any evidence go bhfuil siad chun reunion i dhéanamh nó bhfuil siad just níos mó naon rud eile a bheith mar deirtheoracha. Sin a rud a bhfuil me ag grá sé i chur isteachar me gcónaí bhí an bhirt deirtheoracha ag déanú agalibh leis na deirtheoracha agus i gcónaí chur siad an ceist sin orthú an bhfuil sibh chun reunion i dhéanamh. Agus i gcónaí tar mise ní é sin an rud is tábhairtí. That's not the most important thing. An rud is tábhairtí ná gur féidir leo a bheith mar deirtheoracha arís that they can be, that's the most important thing, that they can be like brothers again. Agus ní rá siad an a bheith mar deirtheoracha nó ní rá siad i géirí a bheith mar deirtheoracha ar bheith 2 bliana ag am anna ada sin. That's a very long time. A lot of things can happen during that time, especially let alone ruddy tarlu irre and ham sin. So I gcónaí chuir sé isteach ormsa nuair a bhí daoine chur an reunion is dócha mar an rud is tábhachtí when people are kind of prioritizing or pushing the reunion is the most important thing. Such a ní sin an rud is tábhachtí ar churbas. Come a faoin reunion. So I can't tábhacht the one in la sin. What importance does that have? And I say this as a massive Oasis fan who would give his left arm to get to go to one of these gigs. Jeremy sin mar fan allwards Oasis tá se gafalo agus inhin ein rud hon dul go ceant in the Kilcormacha on Sarah Shaw no few satauki even in the future. Ach rud is tábhachtí nach gur féidir lo a bheith agus freisin le hain well bhí me hon na tiismóirí ránaí le nathair. Ceam go le nathair fós bio ach dog an clán go léir mháthair agus go mala sin na lads Paul Liam agus nó dog siad an tathair ceapam trucka no níos mó beidir caracha bliain on hinish. They left the father about 40 years ago because he was abusive. Both the father and mother are Irish actually. Is as Éireann iad máthair agus go mala sin an tathair is as chun na mí ceapam in tathair Julik áitéigean dar anam Julik na sam cáil sé ceapam chun na mí agus an sin is as moille I a máthair actually is as Charlestown agus din se sin a cartu jet no na cúig no in tip on áit grass ma a her hain. It's only about 10 or 15 minutes away from where my own father is from. So, and that's, I suppose, another angle to it as well. I was going to say to finish that point on Craig a chur leis an buinse sin Peggy an máthair íon tá sé gairí mí sinna ceapan goil sí 8 na beidir 8 cuaig and is ceapan 8 actually in si coshan sin ach arís ní bhaid sí an seo go Joe she won't be here forever agus goil siise in an inis feicáil goil an bhirrte cuaig labhairt le chéile mar mháthair caithfidh sé sin chur shocker. That has to bother you for years that 2 of your sons don't get along and don't speak and that it's in the media every week goil sé an sin sta meán gach seachtain. So in ish gur féidir leihi probably dul go ceant in the Kilcormacha agus an ish tá físeánaí feicia eci hana féin is dócha. I guess she's already seen videos of the two performing together last week in Cardiff. Le chéile sean mága tá sí fós in a cóníos teach céine in a hoagsí na lads. She's still living in the same house that she brought up the two lads Mancon. So seans go mai she dul go ceant and gigs an teachtain seo actually no an deir seachtain seo Mancon Neil Sam I don't know. But I think normally when she goes to their solo gigs, she goes to the ones in Manchester. This is how obsessed I am. The show Cig of Gafa agus atá me. A question bhí me hun rá, I was going to say, like sin is tócha gné eile, another aspect to my interest in Oasis and my love for Oasis and grá atá le Oasis sin. The Irish element, because they don't have a drop of English blood in them, níl fuil sasnach ar churbacu. There'd be no problem if they did. Ní bheith ein Irish churbe dá meach. But I suppose it's the idea they're as much Irish kind of as they are English. Tá siad comhpháirtíocht mar tá siad sasnach. Two Irish parents had a very Irish upbringing that's been 6 weeks every summer in Mayo. Bhíoh siad a cathú 6 seachtain ceapan gach saoire in Mayo and sin in Charlestown or late in the Sierra. And Noel especially, Liam speaks about it as well, but Noel especially speaks a lot about the Irish connection being session ag láirt go minic is tócha faoin geangal éireannach agus ceant na fána dar leis a diary le Oasis Jane chomhpháirtíocht. One of the reasons why Oasis did that good, I guess, throughout years, from the blianta. And one of the reasons they were what they were and why people connected, ceant na fána óhfuil an ceangal sin ag an daoine agus ceant na fána óhfuil daoine chomh gafa le Oasis sin an taobh éireannach. Fan go bhfeicimid tá quote an seo áitéigean an seo tá laptop os mo chóir tá méid cosúil inis le caithfidh mé Jamie áil efte a Jamie cosúil le cad atá acu ar Joe Rogan ach tá quote ionach ó Noel Gallagher ag labhairt beaganaín faoin Oasis agus an nasc le héireann agus ghfuil siad comhpháirtíocht mar sasnach agus Oasis could never have existed, been as big, been as important, been as flawed, been as loved and as loathed if we weren't all predominantly Irish. Mar as an cúigear a thosaigh an band na cheol out of the 5 that started the band, gach duine bhí Bert's hisismóirí éireannach ag gach ceannach acu. Ceapan bhí gan dabhas Bert's hisismóirí éireannacha ag Tony McCarroll, ag Bonehead, ag Liam agus Noel ar nói agus McGuigan, cén tanam atá Guigsi, Paul McGuigan, ceapan an tanam an lad eile ar rinne an bés. Ceapan bhí ar laiad hisismóthir amháin éireannach seans má gur Bert ar nói bhí a lá an éireannig ag dul go manchán agus learfáil freisin a gáirí an manchán ceapan I rithne a níte chuigeidí na níte seascaidí, na blianta a rugú Bonehead, Liam, Noel agus na lads seo, Tony McCarroll freisin. So that's another element. Sin element eile sin gné eile a bhhainin le Oasis agus ceans na fána bhfuil Oasis chomh mór in éireann mar atá siad agus, as as tuaisceart hasanna either from the north of England opposed to the south, which is much more the more Irish part of it, I guess, rather than traditional kind of more middle class English and that's, ó hasanna ó meán nachma agus mar sinja. So I think that's also another reason, one of the reasons why they're so popular in Ireland. Ceann na fána atá siad chomh cáúil sin in éireann. So I'm really happy they're back. The music means a lot to me. Tá a good ceol an hábhaach dumpsa. Tá sé tar éis cabhrú lom go mór I héal, tá sé tar éis cabhrú go mór lom I rith héal agus tríd na blianta gáirí le deimlín na nús. Good times and bad times, amana maha, droch which is always how it is in life. You're never going to have all good, all bad. I gcónaí pa sé mar sin, I bhaid sé ad go dó a héal ina mín gachrod go má ó gachrod go donna. Ach just gaiú leanúint agus ceol caríonn sa sin go mór lumpsa ar aonos. Music definitely helps me a lot. Anyway, and I think a lot of people, it's the same. And again, the stories behind the songs, behind the music, behind the brothers, with a lot of things, cosú le lán rudí na leichen the show. Agus I gcónaí is dócha, always it's been like this, but especially nowadays, you can buy into the thing that someone is making. So mar hampla matá duine ag déanú fudcréile, matá duine ag scríb cheol, matá duine ag chur físeánaí ar TikTok, géanrad mar sin. Tá tú an is dócha sim a bheith agat. You can be interested sa rud a bhfuil siad ag labhairt faoi, sa rud a bhfuil siad ag canna faoi, sa cheol, sa fudcréile. Ach, níos mó na aon rud eile, ceapan chomh tábhaach mar sin. More than anything else, as important as that is the character behind who's making it. So, and the story behind it. So Oasis, okay, streidim chur slide away a chur siúil an speaker agus buinam taitnavas. Ach an fá atá sé iontach ná táisagam gur scríb Noel Gallagher an taran sin. I know that Noel Gallagher wrote. I know what Noel Gallagher's life has been like. And I know the stories is gosh. I know the upbringing he had. Táisagam cén sais tógans a bhí aige. Táisagam cén sais duine martá a lá aglah cloiste agam. Táisagam an scéal a bhaineann le conas a scríb sé Slide Away. I know the story of how he wrote or how he came up with Slide Away. Agus ceapam tá sé níos speisialta nuair atá sé le sin arís. Tá sibh sé géisteach leis an bud craile seo gach seachtain. You guys listen to this podcast every week, and I suppose you listen to it to improve your Irish. Bíonn sibh sé ag géisteach le seo chun feabhas a chur ar bhuair gcuid Gaeilge agus chun just níos mó Gaeilge a bheith agah iwar sail to have more Irish in your guys' lives. But as well as that, I'd like to think that you're also interested in the stories. I might have to tell chance goil same agah le cúna J. Hopefully tá same agah sna scéalta tá le rágam tá le hinsin sagam agus goil sim ad I mise stocha agus onamsa mar chuine as a person. And I suppose my thing on languages and my thoughts and different things I'm interested in, my thoughts on life, my chuid smoinsi air on sale. Same with social media. Maybe you're following someone who's does fitness on social media. Chance goil to ag leanúint duine éigean a dhéanaan nó a bhíonn ag labhairt faoin achlíocht na meán ho síalta. Agus okay, chance goil sim agad snachlíocht ach galam ditch, I promise you. You're interested in something more. You're interested in the person, the story they're telling, what they're selling you. I don't mean selling the products, but what you're buying into and rud bhfuil sim agat ann leis an leathnach sin with that page. There's something deeper, the character of the person, the personality, what they represent, what you relate to them, the way you relate to them, and maybe with Oasis and their songs or the way they are, you can relate to a lot of things. Is tócha tuigim alán rudaí ó bhfuil siad ag labhairt faoi. Agus, tá sé aisteach leabhas tá dríocht down leis. I know a lot of people don't like that type of language. There's magic in it because it seems like a cop-out. But like Oasis songs aren't hard to play on the guitar. And the chuideas modes and how on to Oasis, níl siad jacker chun casú ar an guitar. They're some of the first songs people learn often, and for me, one of the first songs I learned was Supersonic, for example, which is fairly easy to play on the guitar. Tá sé soch éasca chun casú an guitar. Rud cén le Wonderwall, Slide Away, a lansana Keenan Smó. Tá siad anna simply. And no one would say, even though Noel Gallagher plays the guitar unbelievably, when he wrote those songs, he wasn't even in the top few hundred best guitar players in the world. He was just not overthinking it, doing G, A, E, and I put these lyrics on to my hun na lyricí seo a chur orthú. Agus rís na lyricí, cuid words in a lyricí, ní lein cíal ar churbid. There's no kind of sense to them at all. Slowly walking down the hall, faster than a cannonball, where were you while we were getting high? Ní lein cíal sin. Agus ceapan bhí daoine a dhéirí a bheith like on a click agus on a clish that people want to be very smart and kind of cute and say, oh well, that's about this man, or tá sé sin faoi seo agus an ceangals le seo. Agus tá sé ráite Noel Gallagher gur seafóid sin. Noel Gallagher said the man who wrote it or wrote those lines, that's nonsense. A lot of the lines don't really mean anything, or they were just kind of written off he can't even remember writing them, or they just kind of came to him, hánig siad chuige, and the people, whatever the people want it to mean to them, it can mean, má tá duine and ag éirí ghfuil sé mar seo sin ceart go leor, ach níl actually aon cíal leis really in that era. There's no specific meaning, or he might have a meaning in his own head, but he doesn't kind of give it to people. Níl sesin ag éirí a horts do chuoine mar arís le haid gach duine tá sé chun rud éigean difriúil a chialú. For everybody, it's going to mean something else. So I guess that's another reason as well. It's like, well, it's not that hard to play most of their songs. Níl sé chomh jacker sin chun a good arán chasú. Chomh sin, as well as that, like the lyrics often don't really mean anything. Even Wonderwall, what's a Wonderwall? Okay, Wonderwall, we all love it now because it's part of a great song. Tá sé mar chuid aránítach, ach, like, what is it? No one knows, But there's something about that. Even a lot of the lyrics in that song, today was going to be the day they were going to throw back to you. Arish, Nir Thomad say Kanu on the lyric sin, Mohin say on the Kuachtocht no Dumse, it feels very powerful. Like, Arish, Kalachilin say, well, Nichilin say ain't rud really. So to Rudagan Fuid, to Rudagan, it just clicked. It written the blin to shin, it's your Nijag no Katri, Nijag no Kahar, near a Heaney sheet like Creation Records when they signed with Creation. Godzí níteag nó sé, níteag nó seacht na rinne siad Nebworth, the níteag nó sé, the Nebworth gig in 96, which is their biggest ever gig. Something was magic in the air. Bhí rud ag an tríochtúil san air is dócha written na blinta sin, and there's no kind of better thing that tells that story ní leon rud níos fearr in sin an scéal sin ná Supersonic an chlór fascinaise, the documentary. Might still be available for free on YouTube. Chance go mai sé le fáil an sin siar an aisce YouTube bhí sé ar feadh cúpla bliain, ach bhí mé géirí é aimsú an lá hána. Trying to find it the other day agus ní raibh mé an chat there. I wasn't able to find it, so béidir nach bhfuil sé an sin níos mó. Cínte bhfuil sé áitséigean ar lína nó ar Netflix nó áitséigean mar sin agus míon sé an scéal a chlorfáis iontach atá ann gan out an scanner is fearlam my favourite film of any type, of any genre, of anything an what ar fad éasca an féchan sé fresh and easy to watch agus míon sé an scéal a bhainean le Oasis idir níteag nó trí níteag nó dó nuair thosaigh siad go dtí níteag nó sé agus an gig sin in Nebworth agus tharla gachar de chomh tapí sin, everything's happened that fast mar dúirt mé an chuideas modes an na harán atá rólas ag na casual fans tháinig siad amach níte nó go cethir definitely maybe no níte nó go chuig Morning Glory, the story about how they wrote the Morning Glory album. I think they were in the studio 2 weeks and that was it was done. Bhí sé tíomh sa studio sin ar feadh caiiciis agus bhí sé chríne tá sé dochreide. It's unbelievable. For me anyway, again, some people might not like them, that's absolutely fine. I don't think everybody has to like the same thing. Ní cheapan go gaithí gach duine a bheith is tócha tócha leis an rud céanna. Ach domsa, tá siad fear hábhaach go héal ba siad go Joe ceapam yen ein rud I would do anything to be able to go see them. I think live here in the UK or Ireland this summer, or maybe in the future if they do more tourist chance. So tauchi my yen is níos mó chum chórsanna fan go bhheicimiid ach just lán sásta ghfuil siad ar as le céile agus fiú ag éisteacht leis an audio an sin an géad gig Cardiff an tatan scat sa bhí mé chó sásta. I was just vi có jazz an éisteacht leis agus scóirí níos mó na rud ghfuil siad mar tar thóracha aris. Anyway, Arinos, Create Noimage on Shin will finish there. Big thank you as always. Gur míle maithí mar is gnách as tún all shock wig on show. Tá mé fear week very, very grateful as an taithiocht mar is gnách la romids. Arish on Tachtan Shogun, no Jan Kaikish Dumsa in a fortnight for me as I'm pre-recording this a good bit ahead of time. I'll be on my holidays next week. I'm looking forward to getting back talking to you. Exul Gomor, Lever Rash, a Lauert Lat on Tachtan Shogun. Mila Wakas, Slán agus Bannacht.